The Moon. A very long time ago, there was a country where the night was always dark. After sunset, the sky covered the world like a black cloth, because the moon never rose, and not one star twinkled in the darkness. A long time before, when the world was created, everything used to glow gently and give just enough light to see by. But later, that faded. One day, 4 young men from that country set out on a journey and came to another kingdom just as the sun was setting behind the mountains. When the sun had gone completely, they stood still in amazement because a gleaming ball appeared at the top of an oak tree and cast a soft light all around. It wasn't as bright as the sun, but it gave off enough light to see by and to tell one thing from another. The 4 travellers had never seen anything like it, so they stopped a farmer who happened to be driving past in his wagon and asked him what it was.
"Oh, that's the moon, that is," he told them. "Our mayor bought it. He paid 3 thalers for it. He's got to pour oil into it every day and keep it clean so it shines nice and bright, and we pay him 1 thaler a week for his trouble."
When the farmer had driven away, one of the young men said, "You know what? We could use this moon thing at home. My dad's got an oak tree about as big as this in his front garden. I bet he'd let us hang it there. Wouldn't it be good not to have to blunder about in the dark any more?" "That's a good idea," said the second. "Let's get a hold of the wagon and a horse and carry this moon away. They can always buy another." "I'm a good climber," said the third. "I'll go up and get it." The 4th one fetched a wagon and horses, and the 3rd one climbed the tree, drilled a hole in the moon, passed a rope through it, and hauled it down. When they had the glowing ball safely in the wagon, they covered it with a tarpaulin so nobody could see what they'd done, and they set off homewards. Back in their own country, they hung the moon on a tall oak tree. Everyone was delighted when this new lamp cast its light all over the fields and shone through every window. Even the dwarfs came out of their mountain caves to have a look at it, and the little elves in their red jackets came out of the meadows and danced in the moonlight. The 4 friends looked after the moon. They kept it clean, they trimmed the wick and made sure it was always full of oil. They were paid 1 thaler a week by public subscription. And so it went on till they grew old. One day, one of them felt his death was near, so he sent for the lawyer and changed his will, saying that as a quarter of the moon was his, it should go into the grave with him. Accordingly, when he died, the mayor of the town climbed the tree and cut off a quarter of the moon with his secateurs, and it was placed in the coffin. The light from the rest of the moon was a little dimmer, but people could still see their way around. When the second one died, another quarter of the moon was buried with him, and the light grew dimmer still. The same thing happened with the 3rd, and after the 4th died and was buried, there was no light at all, and when people went out without a lantern, they bumped into things just as they'd done in the old days. When the 4 parts of the moon were together under the world, where it had always been dark, the dead became restless and woke up from their sleep. They were astonished at being able to see again. The moonlight was quite bright enough for them, because their eyes had been closed for so long that the sun would have been too bright. They cheered up no end, got out of their graves, and began to have a high old time. They played cards, they danced, they went to the taverns and got drunk, they quarrelled and fought and raised their sticks and walloped one another, and the row they made got louder and louder until it reached all the way to heaven. St. Peter, who guards the gate up there, thought a revolution was breaking out, and he called all the heavenly host together to repel the devil and his infernal crew. However, when the devils didn't turn up, he got on his holy horse and rode down to the underworld to see what was going on. "Lie down, you brutes!" he roared. "Back in your graves, every one of you! You are dead, and don't you forget it!" Then he saw what the problem was. The moon had reassembled itself, and no one could sleep. So he unhooked it and took it up to heaven and hung it up where no one could reach it. Since then, it shines over every country, no matter where it is, and St. Peter takes a bit away at a time till there's hardly any left, and puts them back again over the course of a month to remind people who's boss. He doesn't take the cut-off bits down to the underworld, though. He's got a special cupboard to put them in. It's just as dark down among the dead as it ever was. The end.